Have you ever opened a Terraform project, ran Terraform in it, and noticed a file appear that you didn't create? Terraform.lock.hcl. Most people either ignore it or delete it or argue about it in pull requests. So today I want to clear things up. What is that file doing and why does Terraform care so much about it? And should you be committing it to your Git repositories or not? I'm Sarah Lean, and on this channel we break down cloud and infrastructure topics in a way that actually makes sense when you're doing the work. So let's get into it. When you run Terraform init, Terraform is basically getting your project ready. It downloads providers, checks versions, and makes sure everything it needs is available. But here's the important bit. Terraform really cares about consistency. It doesn't just want your code to work today, it wants it to work tomorrow, on your colleague's laptop and in your CI pipeline. That's where the lock file comes in. The terraform.lock.hcl file is Terraform's memory. It records the exact versions of providers that you used the last time Terraform init ran successfully. Not the latest, not whatever works, the exact versions. Terraform does two checks when it runs. First, it looks at the version constraints you've defined in your configuration. Then it looks at the lock file. If Terraform has never used a provider before, it picks the newest version that fits your constraints and it writes it into the lock file. From that point on, Terraform will keep using the same version, even if a newer one exists. That's intentional. Without the lock file, two people can be running the same Terraform code and could end up with different provider versions, different behaviour, different bugs, different results, and that's not something that you want when you're managing infrastructure. The lock file helps make sure your local machine, your teammate's machine, and your build agents are all using the same dependencies. And yes, this is important. If you want Terraform to reevaluate provider versions, you can do that explicitly when running Terraform init. Terraform won't surprise you. It only changes versions when you tell it to. That's a good thing. Now the big question is, should you include this file in your version control or should you ask the git ignore file to ignore it? And this is really where opinions start flying and controversy comes into play. First of all, let's clarify what the git ignore file actually does. Anything listed there won't be committed to version control. So the real question is, do you want everyone using your Terraform project to run with the same provider versions? And if you're working in a team or collaborating with others, the answer is almost always yes. Committing that lock file gives you consistency, predictable deployments, clear visibility when dependencies change, and it also lets you review provider changes in pull requests, just like you would with code. If you're working completely alone and you're comfortable managing the provider versions yourself, you can ignore the lock file. Terraform will still work. But, and this is the important bit, you're accepting the risk of version drift later on. Things might behave differently in 6 months than they did today. The terraform.lock.hcl file isn't just noise, it isn't optional fluff. It's a stability tool. For teams, it's a no-brainer. Commit it to your version control. For solo projects, it's a choice, but one you should make consciously. Understanding what this file does puts you back in control of your Terraform workflow instead of letting version changes catch you out. Now, if this video helped you, give it a like and subscribe for more Terraform and Azure content, and I'll see you in the next one.